Hey everybody, Nina here with my service dog Theo, who I think is realizing we all need some emotional support right now. That or he's just like crazy from after dinner. But I was really wanting to talk about the Google I/O keynote and everything that happened at Google I/O because I see a lot of people just talking about the keynote and there was a bit more. I also want to talk about some like recent developments in search. So I got my laptop here for notes because I do think it's important that there's so much I don't want to miss anything. And don't worry, I'm not just going to tell you the news because like, let's be real, you can read that anywhere. What I'm going to tell you is what to do about it and what I'm planning to do about it. So we're going to go through all of it together and maybe Theo will give me my hands back at some point. I don't know. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. It's not going to be that short. So what I want to focus on first is what this means for you and the actions to take, but then I'm going to get into like the nitty gritty of what they actually talked about for those like me that are a little bit more like search nerdy. So what does the like Google I/O say about what's happening for web publishers? The industry is completely changing. Basically, Google is getting rid of the 10 blue links in search results. That is no longer serving their users. And since their whole thing is they need to serve their users, they don't care that we don't like that. And in fact, I would argue that most of us, if we like step back and really think about it, the 10 blue links haven't worked for a while. Like even whenever I teach people SEO, people have complained about what we have to do to rank there because they don't like how formulaic it is and that it doesn't really find good quality content. And that's what we're really like seeing them try to do. I don't know how well they're going to do it, but they are working on it, which is, I think, commendable to some degree. I just think they're not doing a great job for publishers yet. So I'm going to link an article that they created. It's called basically like top ways to ensure your content performs well in Google's AI experiences on search. It's very generic. I will put it below, but I'm also going to link to an article that I wrote about how to get traffic from ChatGPT search, which I've been doing very successfully for a while now. And I think that's going to be the key thing. We need to stop optimizing for those 10 blue links and start optimizing for ChatGPT search. The good thing is it's pretty similar because current SEO best practices are audience first. So that's going to be key. The next thing is you need to start being a brand. I know I've said this a lot of times, but like they have literally come out and said it. They are like, we need to make sure that you go beyond text for multimodal success. Multimodal was like such a buzzword last year, and they said it again and again this year as well. And that's because they're saying like when you have images, videos, like text, then the AI, which is also parsing all of that, is going to have much more chances to find you. It's also, in my opinion, a better thing for accessibility. I know some of my audience like don't like videos. So this is also going to be a blog post. It'll be linked below. I tried to make it a newsletter. It just got way too long millions of times. I tried to shorten it. I know for some people, they prefer to listen to it. That's why I make all my YouTube videos available on the She Knows SEO podcast, which is literally just this feed in podcast form. I really try to make sure everything that I post in long form, I create short form versions of. Does it take a bit more time to do all of that? Yes, but I truly believe it's one of the reasons for my success. And it's not because I do like amazing on all these other platforms. Like if you go look at my threads, if you look at my Instagram, like they are not doing very well. It's just that I show up. So I am an omnipresent brand that people can find where they already are. Now you're going to say, okay, Nina, but like I just want ad revenue. So like how do I get that? Stop. Honestly, I think ad revenue is going to go away almost entirely. I think we're going to have some sort of new setup. The CEO of Cloudflare has done a lot of really interesting interviews on this, where he's basically said like the rise of zero-click searches, which is just when people search and then don't click on a link. It's not that fancy. Basically, the issue with that is people aren't clicking over to a blog anymore. We'll talk about some arguments I have for why that's happening, but like you're not just getting traffic for the sake of traffic anymore, and that's probably going to happen for a while. I do think that they're going to have to do something around it. He's mentioned that Sam Altman already understands that from ChatGPT, but like OpenAI is not going to be the first person to pay creators. Like that's just not going to happen. So I think we're going to have to see some industry shifts before that happens. In the short term, the way that you can monetize is affiliates, having any sort of income that you actually own. We saw recently with Booking.com closing a ton of publisher accounts that you really need to have something that is just yours. Anyone can close things at any time. You do not want to build an entire brand off of someone else's basically like monetization source. Have your own. So So that's where we have services, we have products, we have books, we have courses, we have anything you can think of. You need to get on that. I do really, really think that that is key to survive currently. I also think, and this is something I haven't seen other people talk about yet, and maybe I just missed it, to be honest, been very underwater recently, and sorry, to be clear, not physically. I don't swim very well, but just like had a lot on. But yeah, people aren't talking about sponsorships. And I think sponsorships and like one-to-one brand collaborations, it's moving off of just social media. People always think it's just socials. I do so many brand deals that have nothing to do with my social media. Like, if anything, I guess they do something with YouTube. Sometimes my Facebook group, which is nice, but usually it's newsletter or blog. So keep that in mind. Sponsorships are an amazing opportunity to make more income and work one-to-one with a brand where it doesn't matter like how many page views you get. To some degree, obviously we want traffic, but getting in front of the ideal target people, that's what's key. And actually for them, you showing up in AI search, like AI search is basically a billboard. So for them, it's like, hey, I've just got this person that's now showing up like on AI search for this like massive query. That's a win for them. Whereas for you, you might be like, well, I don't want to show up because then I don't get my like $50 of ad revenue. You will have gotten paid by them. So I think that's going to be a big part of our future, at least for the next year. I also think like the going multimodal is going to be really important because Google is expanding beyond just text search. So we've had text search, we've had image search, we've had voice search with them, but they're actually going into like live video search. So if you have like your phone out and you're doing stuff, basically you're going to be able to like search in real time as you're like, I don't know, FaceTiming or recording your kids like planting or whatever. All of their videos for the demos were children. And that seems problematic to me because like, I don't know, not to get into like a big consent issue, but like they can't opt in for the data. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I think I know how I feel about it. I think I feel uncomfortable with it. And that like it could just be recording anybody and like taking their likeness. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I think that's going to be a big part of it. I also think something we need to really get specific on is who our target audience is. Because having a clear person that we're talking to is going to be so important for this success. So rather than the generic like things to do in Nashville, the example they gave was things to do in Nashville this weekend with friends. We're big foodies who like music, but also more chill vibes and exploring off the beaten path. That's the way you would like ask somebody on socials or ask a travel agent what you should do. So what it's doing is it's using this like, they called it the like the query fan out technique. Basically, it's just going to run all those individual searches, amalgamate the responses, and then come back to you with an answer. It does a bunch of like fancier tech stuff in the middle, but essentially it's going to do those individual searches. When they were showing an example of how it's doing that, not once did they show just things to do in Nashville. It was those specifics of things to do in Nashville this weekend, things to do in Nashville with friends, foodie things to do in Nashville, music things to do in Nashville. Like, it was those specifics. Now, those aren't even that long tail, but that's going to be key. They've already proven that like with AI overviews, and especially I've noticed it with ChatGPT search as well, the searches are getting longer. They're usually like 40 characters. That's a full blog post title. Like, that's long. In fact, sometimes they're like paragraphs. And it's going to keep advancing because the whole point of the AI is that it's remembering what you like. So it's going to know, hey, Nina's obsessed with dogs. Like, half of the shit that she does with ChatGPT search is just like looking at dog things, looking at dog yoga, making images of her dog. So like when we're talking about a place, we're probably going to be like, hey, are you bringing your dog? Or, hey, Nina loves parks with her dog. Let's add some parks in there. So it's starting to understand you. And that means that even if a user is searching something like things to do in Nashville, there's actually a bunch of context it's adding to it. So I think we're going to see the death of short tail keywords. I think we're really going to need to get into that specific. So those are like the big things I see happening. Now, I think we're also going to have to make sure that we are optimizing for basically humans. Like, that's another big change, which we've already seen since the HCU. And I think a lot of people haven't made the change yet. So the old form of Google used latent semantic indexing, LSI. We had LSI keywords from that. That's how like RankIQ was kind of founded. That's how Surfer SEO was run. That's how they gave us those extra words to input because it needed that to build context. It needed to like match words essentially. Now we have LLM, which is, oh, I never remember what it is. We'll live search. What is LLM? A large language model. I always want to say Latin language model for some reason, but it's a large language model. And that means it understands language. Like it speaks, it listens, it understands, it takes things in. It can't do like completely complex thought yet, but it can like put together what you've said. And so it can understand the context of your article, which means we no longer need 200 secondary keywords. We no longer need to have exactly the same words as our competitors. And in fact, if we do, it doesn't like that. We need unique content. The first 1,000 words really need to be something that's like showing something different than your competitors, that's like legitimate and helpful. But that's why a lot of stuff that's like bullshit is showing up in the top 10, is because the actually good stuff, they all have the exact same intro, because that used to be the right thing for SEO in like 2022, 2023. So now what we need is a really strong intro as well, where we actually answer the query. And with the AI overview and with AI mode and with ChatGPT search the thing first, see what comes up, and then restructure that for yourself. You're not rewriting what's there, but you're picking out, like, so when I searched what is LLM, it says an LLM, or large language model, is a type of artificial intelligence program that can understand, interpret, and generate human language text. Then it has a whole like bunch of stuff on like what it does, how it works, examples, applications. So it's giving me a whole bunch of information here. That's helping me figure out what it wants me to talk about. Do I talk about exactly that? No, maybe I note some things that are missing. Maybe I adjust this a bit more. Maybe I write it in human English, because like that was just like kind of meh. Like it wasn't fun to read that. We want to make sure that we are like getting that context and then adapting it for our people. The other thing that I think is going to be so important is knowing your audience in the content there and referring to things for them, so that even if your article isn't like specifically for foodies in Nashville, if you have a section where you talk about like, I'm a foodie, this is my favorite place to go, it will pull that. So bringing in that personal experience, bringing in that personality is going to be so key going forward. Like it is genuinely going to be huge. Now there's still like so many things, honestly, that they're going to do. We will go over a few more of them after, but two other things that I want to talk about before I get into like the technicalities that they're going to go into is, number one, AI for shopping. So basically they're creating a shopping assistant within the search results. And so it's going to be able to use Google Images. It's going to like have a shopping graph all mixed in together. So if I go in, I'm moving house soon, and so I'm looking at new couches, because the one that I have it's nice, but it's from my dad, and it's like 20 years old, and it's like sagging in the middle. And I spend a lot of time on my couch, so I want something comfy. But I know that I want something that is really like bright colors. I think I want a teal one this time. I've had red for a long time, so I'm looking for a teal couch. Well, when I search that, I want to like not just get images of couches. I want to buy a couch, right? Or do I? Well, now it can have both of those intents. It's going to allow me to like get kind of some inspiration first, and then to shop from that inspiration natively inside of the Google Images. It's also going to mean that I can like use Google Pay and check out natively inside of like the Google search, or I can even set a price alert, kind of like you can do with Google Flights. It'll remind me to come back whenever that thing drops to my target price. I think it has some good applications there as a user who hates shopping, who like, if I could avoid shopping for the rest of my life, I 100% would. I would love to never set foot in the store again or buy anything ever again. I hate it. This is really great because it's going to help me with that. Now, it's going to also like learn things about you. The thing I think is best, which is something I've been crying out for since AI came here, was that they're going to have a virtual try-on feature. So for someone like me who doesn't really know their size, doesn't really know their dimensions, I mean, you can see right now, I'm in like 2 different shades of gray sweats because like I am not a fashionable girly. I probably should have thought about the fact that I'm going to be full screen for the first time, but whatever. I don't think that way. With this, you're going to be able to like upload a photo of your body. It's going to then adjust whatever you're looking at to see how it would look on you. It takes a bit to render. I think there's some issues with it understanding like vertical versus horizontal versions of you. So I think it's going to have to advance, but I'm like, yeah, like The Sims could do it. Why can't Google? And now it can, which is pretty cool. So that one I am excited for. I do think the agent checkout feature, I think they called it agentic checkout feature in my my like spell check changed it, but essentially it's going to message you and be able to even buy for you. That could obviously have problems with like it over purchasing for you, or even with like the Google Pay system. I don't know how much they take from like the creator on the other end, but this is going to be a new way where you can shop without needing to like go directly to the website. And that's already been happening. So for e-commerce brands, I think the SEO is also going to change, and I think it's going to get way more into the structured data. And structured data and schema is something that even they have said, like, we need to be doing. And I will talk about that after a bit more. What was the last thing I was going to cover? There's so many. I'm trying to just like pick one. I will say that they said relentlessly a lot, which really bothered me. It's just like, stop saying relentless. It doesn't make sense. Oh, the other thing was that they are bringing basically like Gemini into every aspect of what you're doing with the web. So Gemini is going to be like natively in Chrome. It's going to be able to like read any web page you're on and interact with it. It'll be able to summarize it. The example that they gave is for a camping blog post where it had like, I don't know, 10 campsites, whatever. And there were 2 that they couldn't decide between. And this happens so often in articles. Oh my God, guys, if you're going to write a list of things and like it's all campsites, you have to compare them. So it's understandable why they're there and why they're different and why you might choose one over the other. They can't all be perfect. Otherwise, like, what magical place have you entered? Like, that's just not how it works. So yeah, we need to be writing better posts, but they've created this because we're not. And partially we're not because they taught us to, and it's a whole thing. I don't know. We're in like a very like abusive, emotional, psychological abusive relationship with Daddy Google, I think, from all of this. And they need to pay for our therapy for it. But we really want to make sure that, yeah, we are aware of that. And that basically with this, they're also going to have Gemini is basically going to exist in all of their apps. So if someone uses Gmail, if someone has Google Drive, if someone has Google Calendar, it can interact with all of those things. And through DeepMind, it's going to actually be able to like pull that information. So the example they gave, again, they always use travel examples, which I'm like, if you don't want to piss somebody off, like if you want to like lead one segment of the blogging world alone, it should be travel, because you've been very mean to travel. But with it, they used the example of, what was it? I think like it was, I don't remember the exact, it was like Yosemite or something. It was like, oh, a friend emails you because you did this like camping trip in Yosemite and a road trip. They're emailing you for your advice. Well, now rather than just those little prompts of like, thanks, great, love it, it's actually going to be able to access all of your Google Drive and your past emails to see like your booking confirmation, see all of that information, synthesize it down, see like your itineraries, see all of that, and then write an email in your tone of voice because it's learned how you email before. And then it can email your friend for you. Now you have to click to do that. Like it doesn't just do it, and you have to read it and then you can edit it. But yeah, it's funny that the reaction on Threads has not been good to that one. Real users don't love it. And that's only the few that have already seen this from the IO. I think most normal people haven't heard of Google IO, and they don't even know what happens and know what any of this is that I'm talking about. So while I think that there's some good things that can happen there, I think there's a lot of bad. And I think that we have a lot of good and bad with all of this. The main thing is we can't change it. So you get to be upset for a minute. I'm totally okay with everyone like raging. I went to a rage room recently. So much fun. 10 out of 10 recommend. If they have a TV that you can smash, do it. But the bottles and like plates are my favorite. I really like to like, throw a plate. It was very fun. Yeah, make sure you like do something to let it out. I also do puppy yoga to like calm down. So maybe do one of each. But then you have to move on. And as they've said, like Google search is evolving because their users required it. They actually don't care about their publishers because we aren't the ones that like are their bottom line. We aren't just their users. They have actual users and they care way more about those people. They also care about their advertisers. So they're already adding ads into AI overviews. As of today, I'm seeing a few of them like crop up in different like articles about it. I haven't seen one crop up in an AI search or in an AI overview I've actually seen yet. I don't know if they're in Canada yet, but this is going to become a thing. And for them, like that's what they're focused on. So for us as content creators, we're still in this middle. We still have to wait it out a bit. But like Google search isn't 100% dead yet. So we can still like capitalize on that while it's there. It's kind of like the TikTok ban. Like don't just go, oh, it's going to get banned, I'm not going to create any TikTok content. Like I think it's supposed to have been banned for a year now and it's still there. I mean, maybe I guess it was November, but they talked about it for like longer before that. If you weren't posting on TikTok, like you just like went cold turkey and stopped, Like you've been missing out on like a year of TikTok revenue and audience. So like I would keep using it. But we want to start optimizing our content for the AI search, which again, pretty similar. Honestly, the better your content is for AI search, typically the better it is for AI overviews, but AI overviews really pull from intros and the schema. So keep that in mind. And then I think we also need to change up our business models. And that's hard. I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do, but we are not the only industry that is struggling right now. I mean, my sister's an architect. Building is like massively impacted with the tariffs. She's had like a bunch of different things happen with pricing and with like everything that she has to do for work. Many different industries, like my dad works in law. And so he had like some new stuff came up, I think like 2 years ago that like the government introduced where they had to change like literally every contract that they had. They had to go re-sign a whole bunch of things. So that was something they had to deal with. These things crop up for us and it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't, but if we just sit about whinging, like we're just letting it pass us by. And this is still something that is viable. It is still making people a lot of money. It is still making me a lot of money from multiple websites. Obviously, she knows SEO is my focus because like I've gotten so into like the technicalities of SEO, which like if you had told me even when I started with SEO that I would love like the attributes and the schema this much, I would have like backhanded you and been like, what Nina are you talking about? But I love it and I love AI and I think it's really fascinating. But we are going through like an industrial revolution. It's like our AI revolution. Like the world is changing and we got to figure out what to do with that. In the meantime, this is what's working. It's going to keep evolving. So I wouldn't say expect that this will be the way it is forever. I think we're going to have to just grin and bear it for right now. But yeah, this is still working. I just like, I'm not making this video to be doom and gloom. I'm not making this video to be like SEO is dead because it's not. It's still getting traffic. It's just pivoting to AI first, which is still a form of search. I will not call it geo. I think geo is the dumbest name. I don't know why people chose that one. I liked AI SEO better. AI EO was like not great. It sounds like Old MacDonald had a farm, but like still better. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. So now, for the geeks that want to stay with me, let's go through some of like the other technicalities that they covered. Okay, so we're going to run through search first and then a few of the other things that they're working on because they had a lot. And then I also want to talk about, they have a couple articles. I mentioned the one about like top ways to ensure your content performs well. They also have one for AI features in your website that has a specific section on SEO best practices. They have how to turn on AI mode if you want to use it. If you're American, you will be able to so far. The rest of us can't yet. And then we're also going to talk about how you can actually opt out of this stuff because I think that's really important and they really bury that. But you get to consent to this. So you can decide, hey, I don't want Google like seeing any of my content. I want to focus on being in ChatGPT search. I want to focus on another platform, whatever you want. Again, I think you need to show up in a couple places. So we'll go through that. Okay, so first things first, for search, I did count it because I'm insane. It was 25 minutes and 2 seconds long. Last year, it was just over 20 minutes, like very much just over 20 minutes. This is the longest section on search that we've seen. It's also the first time that search, for me at least, hasn't basically been verbatim things they said elsewhere. But they did like a counter of like the words they said most, and Gemini and AI, they said both over 90 times. Like that is their focus. If you need to understand anything about IO, it's that like Google is focusing on AI. That is what matters to them. And it's in search. Now, their like main things they always say are it's intelligent, agentic, and personalized. And I'm like, okay. But what they're really trying to do is make sure that people are enjoying this. So they're using it for many countries, but the US and India are their biggest large locations, I guess. They've had over 1.5 billion users per month. They say everyone's like happier with it, is more helpful. We don't have they haven't told us how they're marketing that. So that's very frustrating to me. They're also having basically with AI mode, they were saying it's going to be a new tab, but I've seen from some friends, like Jessie on a Journey was posting about this because she's in New York, so she's able to see it. That's actually showing up where the search button is when you're on the search bar, which is really interesting. So I don't think that they're making it as optional as they claim. And their whole point is really that they wanted to have personal context about you and then be able to do deep research and then build in those multi-searches all at once. So yeah, if you want to see a demo of what it looks like, if you go to the 51 minute 47-second mark. I'll link that below for you guys so you can just jump to it. That's when they start the demo of it, so you can like watch it in action of what it's going to look like. Now, as usual, they talk about like, oh, like, yeah, you may not otherwise have discovered these content creators that are showing up in AI search. Like, we're going to put them on the side nicely. It is not citing us as well as ChatGPT search does. Like, it has that sidebar that ChatGPT search does, but it's not citing you like in the location. Even like AI overviews now, for me at least, they have like a little link button beside each sentence where you can then see like exactly everyone they pulled from for each of them. And it's usually just the same people over and over again. I think they're going to have to work on their citations. Their citations are not great, and they're, I don't know, in my opinion, anecdotally, barreling towards a lawsuit for that. So that's going to be a problem. They really focused on like what's going to come next as well. So eventually it's going to be able to connect to your other Google apps. That will be often, like you have to like choose that. But I don't know, they always try to like hide privacy whenever they talk about AI. I'm not that confident that it's doing that much. You know what I mean? Like that it's like actually you're able to opt in or opt out of that much. I still think there's a lot of like training on your data happening, even if you opt out of it connecting fully to these things. I usually read terms and conditions pretty extensively. Even I haven't read the entirety of like the Google stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind. They are planning to add in deep search, which is basically their version of like ChatGPT is deep research. And this one's going to be able to do deep research and then do that through their fan out technique to do like hundreds of searches for you all at once, synthesize the data, give you an answer. So I think that honestly, like as a user, that sounds pretty good. I think the citation issue is where the problems lie. Like it's basically like they're creating their own form of Wikipedia and then we don't have the reliability of at least we know the sources, which is like Wikipedia had to start doing that because it was so unreliable otherwise. And so we need that fact checking. So I think they're going to have to adjust. They gave a really cool example of like someone was trying to find like affordable tickets in some location to a certain like level of seating in a game, and it was able to like pull all of that in real time with pricing and inventory and stuff. I think that's a cool function. Like I'm not gonna lie. Again, as someone who hates shopping, that seemed good. Now my biggest issue, I mentioned this before, is Search Live. So Search Live is where you can like have a video, panning, be on FaceTime, whatever, and then just search. And I don't love that, because all the examples were children, and like I choose to be online, right? Like I choose to share my face and my voice and be very public with you guys. I also share very personal things, but like I show up online and I chose to do that. I don't include many of my family members who haven't consented to being online. I try to make very sure that like when I publish anything, I like crop out any faces or blur anything where I don't have explicit consent. You'll even notice when I share testimonials, if I haven't, even though I have terms and conditions that like allow me to share testimonials of my students, I still ask like 100 times before I'm going to share that. So if I share something that's like a Facebook group post, I will still crop it out, like the name and stuff, even if you can go to my free Facebook group and see it. It's just like consent is so important to me. Privacy, like I think I'm not that private as a person, I guess, but like I think everyone's entitled to it. And I do think there'll be some issues with this. So we had this issue as well when Google was having like what did they call it? The knowledge graph, I guess, at the top, where it had like, if you search things to do, there's a bunch of like little tabs that show up. And it was pulling images from blog posts where people may not have consented to be on the billboard that is the search result of Google. And especially like as a woman who has dealt with harassment and stalking and things like that before, like this opens up a lot of that, where someone could be tracked very easily. I don't know. I hope that they really like work harder on safety around that. That's going to be, I think, very important. But overall, I don't know. I think that's a thing with search anyway. I think that's a thing of being chronically like online or people recording in public all the time anyway. We see it a lot on Instagram and things like that as well, where people just like aren't very careful about all of the background people, or they just like film a stranger in public, which is like horrific to me. Yeah, it makes me very uncomfortable. So yeah, I think those are some things to consider. Okay, now let's talk about like some other things that they talked about overall with what's changing in search. Or not in search, pardon me, with Google. They have this new like speech translation in Gemini where real time, like we could be on a call right now. The example, again, it's always freaking travel examples. It's so weird. But it'd be like, okay, I'm on a call with an Airbnb host in Mexico or something. I don't speak Spanish, they do. I'd be talking and asking something, and in real time, it'll translate me. And they say it like matches your tone of voice. I didn't think it did, to be honest. It did not sound like it matched the tone of voice to me. But maybe I just like, I don't know. I'd say actually because I'm autistic, maybe like it should matter less to me, but I found it very weird. And my problem with it is it'll talk as you talk. So your voice is like heard underneath it. And my ADHD was like, no. So I think it's cool in theory. I think that there's issues in application. And it was actually very funny because at the end they did this demo with their, what were they called? They called them, there's some kind of special synth ID glasses or something. Oh no, that was part of it. I don't have the exact name of their glasses. I just wrote down prototype and I wrote sounds like Fahrenheit 451 coming to life. Oh no. But they have these glasses that have, it's like the meta glasses kind of, where it has this in it and has Gemini in it. And they were trying to translate in real time and it was glitching so hard. And like, yeah, it was a rough demo. So I don't know. I also think it's going to be so annoying if everyone has glasses that we're just talking at all the time. Like there's a reason people don't just go like, hey Siri, do this as you walk down the street. Cause like, oh no, Siri, go away. Sorry, I just triggered it on my laptop. Because like it's weird, right? So I think it's going to make society very noisy and yeah, weird. I don't know. It like adds more to your field of vision. I don't think it's gonna be great for neurodivergence, but we'll see. Okay. Anyway, so they have that automatic translator they were really proud of. They talk a lot about like how it's so smart with Project Astra, which is like which also honestly sounds like something from like Marvel, but whatever. Where it can like, you can use Gemini in live searches of stuff, and it'll actually correct you. I think that they added this in because ChatGPT got sycophantic recently, where basically it was just like agreeing with you, even if you were saying something that wasn't true. So with this one, they were like, oh, like, I don't know, that's a beautiful convertible, but they were showing a garbage truck. So they were like, well, no, that's a garbage truck. Like, and it would be sassy kind of back to you, like, hey, that's not this thing. And it could remember what you'd asked before, stuff like that, which like was kind of interesting. Then they also have Google Theme, which is AI first, sorry, Theo's coming over. AI first video communications, where it can turn 2D video into a 3D experience, which is like a hologram, but less fun because you're still like in a screen. So it's not like Princess Leia on the table. I don't know. I was like, I don't necessarily see the need for it, like to me, but I guess whatever. So it seems like something they care about. Also, for everyone that's like ever complained about like AI not being environmentally sound, this is why I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to use it for my searches and I'm okay with it. I don't eat beef really, so like I feel good about how this evens out. They took Gemini and put it through Pokemon Blue, so it would get every badge, defeat every gym, everything. And like I just wrote down, this is a great use of AI with the water issues in California. Like what? So these tech bros are just doing whatever they want. And we can't just boycott the thing. There's too many people using it. We need to actually ask for societal change and ask for governmental regulations around this. If that's something that you're worried about, I am. And so that's something that I do like think about a lot. But equally, people are using it for really ridiculous stuff. And one person not using it isn't going to make that much of a difference, in my opinion. We can have different opinions on that. They're also really working on AI agents, which I think are going to be interesting. So think of like a custom GPT, how it's like a pre-trained assistant, right? Well, an agent can go outside of that. So it can like do things. They call it Project Mariner, where basically it's going to be able to like multitask and do a ton of tasks all at once. You can have it like teach it to do something and it'll keep doing it, which like, if this can format my blog post for me, I'm going to be so happy because like I hate formatting posts. That's why I made my AI infused blog post templates. But even then it's like they're templates. So if I ever need to do something unique, it doesn't work. So I'd love that. And I would love to have one for ConvertKit because I hate their email templates. Like they're not like adaptable enough, I guess, for the different types of emails. I don't know. I can complain all day about stuff. I'm not going to. So yeah, AI agents are going to come to Gemini API soon, so developers will be able to use it. I don't know when it's going to be available for everybody. It does seem like they're trying to add agent mode in the Gemini app, but it kind of just looked like AI search. But it would like add Project Mariner filters for you essentially. Like it would like go the next step of you search, Project Mariner like takes filtered actions on it. I don't know. I didn't really understand that one. And then their big thing is that like it's going to be able to have personal context based on you using other Google apps. So it's very much Google native. So you would need to like largely be using Google for your workspace, for your personal life, like have a Gmail account, have Google Drive, have all of those things. It doesn't seem like it can pull from elsewhere, and you have to opt into it. And again, they were like, privacy, privacy, privacy. I don't know that I fully agree with that. Then they introduced a new state of Gemini, so 2.5 Gemini 2.5 Flash, which is where he said relentlessly a million frickin' times. And I was like, stop. Like, I don't need your word of the day calendar. And their real thing was like, oh, it's going to like sound more personal and it can whisper and it can like change languages in mid-sentence. And I was like, I don't care about any of that, but okay. But it'll show you how it's thinking, which is interesting. The thing I like is that it can call for you. So it can call shops. Now, I was listening to a podcast actually recently. It's called Red Handed. It's one of my favorites. And Hannah on it was talking about this and like the issue of consent of like, okay, did that other person consent to speak to an AI? Like, do they know that this is an AI calling them? And they didn't give a demo of this. So you just saw like someone being like, hey, call the shop for me. And then later being like, hey, what did the shop say? You don't see the call happening. So we don't really know how that's working, which I don't understand. And I do think that there's issues around presenting AI to someone else as a real person if they're not aware of it. So I would assume that this is like doing something like, hey, I'm an AI agent calling on behalf of whatever. But like, I would also hang up on that if I was a shop. I'd be like, oh, it's a bot. Bye. Like, it would not be something I would like listen to, but I don't know. So like, how do you guys feel about that one? Because I hate making phone calls. I'm very millennial, but something about this feels weird. Yeah. And then I love that they have the, basically the accessibility function of it, being able to like have an AI interpreter that can help connect like a blind person with their environment so that it can find things for them and it'll be able to do a lot. My grandma was blind. She would not have been able to use this. Like, this would not have been helpful to her. But I can see a lot of younger people who are blind that this would really help. And I think that AI is making the world so much more accessible in those ways. And I love that. I do think, I just think that they like added in randomly at moments when I think people would otherwise fight them on this. And I wish that they weren't presenting it in this weird, like, oh, before you get mad at us, like everything we do is to like help people. You can't be mad that we put this through Pokemon or something. So I don't know. I think two things can exist at once. Yeah. Then they were talking about the Gemini app can now screen share and like use the camera with Gemini in real time. It can connect to all your apps soon. You'll be able to upload files to guide deep research. So right now, deep research, I've only really used the ChatGPT one. It'll just do search for you, but this one you'll be able to like tell it, like give it some context and it can like go off of that, which I think will be interesting. I think that that'll mainly be useful for students, like doing searches for things like that, but for essays and stuff, but I don't know. Then Canvas, they're adapting it. Canvas is like so ChatGPT is the same thing, also called Canvas. I don't know if this is an industry term, if it's the same kind of code, I don't understand, but it's basically going to turn content into whatever you want ASAP, and it can even vibe code for you, which I thought was really interesting. Vibe coding is something I'm really into. I've just been playing around with it, but yeah, there's a lot of like cool stuff there. I don't know. They also have like Imagen 4 now, which is better at putting text and typography into images. VEO3 or VO3 is their new video model that has a native AI audio integration. I still think it's very uncanny valley. Like, I still think you can always tell when it's an AI photo of a person. It's why, like, as much as I use AI, I don't like the AI headshots. Like, they're very creepy to me. I don't like AI video of people. I think AI video of like, oh, like grass blowing or something is fine, but like it looks animated, right? And it looks like worse than the Polar Express creepy to me. But I'd rather it stay that way. I don't want it looking 100% like real people. There've been a lot of issues already around basically like we've had revenge porn. We've had like issues with people's likeness being used for things, which is like not safe. So I'd rather it stay Uncanny Valley, but I'd rather it stay more cartoon and like less creepy Uncanny Valley. And now they're calling art generative media. And I'm like, it's AI art, guys. Like, come on. Like, you can't rebrand that. What are you talking about? They have 2 new plans for using their AI. One of them is like $250 a month, which is wild to me. I don't think any normal users using that. I think that'll be developers for sure. Yeah, and then a big thing that they said is AI-enhanced search means optimizing for AI answers becomes just as important as traditional search engine results pages. SEO now includes feeding AI with context-rich, high-authority content. They are also adding like Synth ID, which has over 10 billion watermarks so far, like out there on AI content. They're creating an Synth ID detector to detect AI content. I don't really know the point of that, to be honest, either one of them. I think it's like, we're going to create the problem and then we're going to have the solution to the problem. I'm like, AI art to me right now is pretty obvious. But a lot of the platforms using it, like, do they want it detected? I don't know. We'll see. They have AI or Gemini Flow now, which is making individual photos. Then it can like you can use individual photos. It'll put it together into a video and you can like make different clips and then put it together. The example was a guy driving a car with like a rooster gear shift. And then there's like a chicken in the back seat that then flies the car, which I was like, what? But I don't know. People want to do what they want to do. Yeah, and then they had the prototype of the glasses, which I thought it was really cool. They had this like 3D map in it, where if you're like looking for directions, it has like this like little mini version of the map that kind of shows up in like the bottom half of your glasses. That's like a 3D, basically direction, so it'll guide you. And I'm like, I think that's really cool as someone who's lost constantly, but also as someone who's visually distracted by too many things. Could be an issue. I see a lot of car accidents happening with people walking and not paying attention, so they need to work on that. And then they always end sections like this, and they're like, oh, now we're using satellites to detect fires when they're the size of just a garage to prevent wildfires. And I'm like, okay, what? And overall, like, I listened to all the AI stuff. Most of it doesn't matter to us for search. Most of the AI sessions we're talking about, like, scaling AI to make sure that, like, we're getting closer to AGI, but we're not there yet. I don't know that we need to get to AGI. It feels like at this point, they're really moving us towards, like, what Fahrenheit 451 warned us about, what, like, so many post-apocalyptic movies warn us about, where it's like they want it to be able to hypothesize and, like, start the theories for us. And I'm like, do we need that? I don't know. But they did cover that it's doing a lot for medicine that I hadn't really seen discussed before, and that it's doing a lot for scientific research that, again, I feel like they don't publicize that much because I don't know if it's doing a great job at it yet, or like, why aren't we talking about that? Like, why wasn't that hyped more? I get this is a developer conference, but I do feel like that should have been something that they did more about. You know what I mean? Okay, so this was not short and sweet. So let's move on though to those articles I mentioned about like what Google's telling us to do now, essentially, for search. So their main thing, their guidance on using generative AI content on your website, as usual, they're like, make sure it's actually good. We don't really care where, like, how you create it, where you're making it. We just want you to make it actually helpful for users. And then if you've like 100% created this with AI, they say, consider adding information on how your content was created in a way that makes sense for your audience, such as by providing more background information on how automation was used and adding image metadata. So basically, they're just trying to like tell us that it's on us to tell people if we use AI generated content, where every other platform, it's interesting, like social media, the social media platform is taking that on. So it's kind of interesting to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? But yeah, and then AI overviews for your website. To prevent content from appearing in AI overviews, you have to add some specific, basically like code, I guess I would call it, to your website. So what you're going to do is use no snippet, data-no snippet, max-snippet, or no index. The easiest way to do this, and that goes in your robots.txt file. ChatGPT can help you do that. But no indexing is going to be the easiest thing. And basically they're saying is like, for your content not to show up in AI mode, you have to no index it, basically. So I will link this article below as well, but this is the one that's like AI features and your website. So they talk about like AI overviews and AI mode in more detail. They have that another like demo of like the query fan out of what it looks like. And then basically they say to appear in this, there's technical requirements and then there's SEO best practices. The technical requirements basically just being indexed and being speedy. Like it literally just says like must be indexed and eligible to be shown in Google search with a snippet. And then that's it. And there's no additional technical requirements. And I went through the article they linked with like other requirements. It's the same as search. Like it's basically just like, hey, don't block our robots. That way we can't see it. Then for SEO best practices, they want you to make sure that you have crawling enabled of your robots.txt. Basically that way you're indexed. That's what that's saying. That you have internal links on your site, that you provide a great page experience for users, making sure that important content is available in a textual form. So don't just have an image, don't just have a video, like transcribe it for people. but supporting your textual content, and this is important, with high quality images and videos. So we're not just talking about images anymore. It seems like video is going to be more and more at the core here. And I think that's because of the trust it builds. Like, if I wrote all this out, you guys would be like, Nina, shut up. But like, some of you guys are still here. So, and thank you for being here. I love you. Then making sure your structured data matches the visible text on the page. So structured data is schema. Now, if you use rank math or you have cadence, both of those have it built in. WordPress natively builds a lot of it in as well. But with something like rank math, even just the free plan, it's going to be able to have FAQ schema, author schema, page schema, product schema, stuff like that. Because you really wanted to understand, like, what is this? And schema is just code that signposts like, hey, this is this is that, this is that. That's all it's doing. I have an article that I think it was a newsletter. I'll link it below, but I'll put like a name beside it so you can see it to learn more about like how to do this. And then, it says check that your merchant center and business profile information is up to date. I don't know if that's true for everyone because I don't like with a business profile, you have to have a physical business to my knowledge. So I think that that's more for e-commerce and like local SEO side of things, but I'm not sure. We're going to see more of that. And then this is interesting. The thing that I think is the most frustrating with all of like AI overview stuff and with AI search, currently someone on Twitter, I don't remember who it was, I'm sorry. If you guys know, cite them in the comments. But they found all links out of AI search so far are no refer. So we actually can't tell who they're coming from. So they're showing up as direct, which is not helpful for tracking. And like, as marketers, we need this data, right? But we have measuring the performance of your site. And it just says, just like the rest of the search result page, sites appearing in AI features such as AI overviews and AI mode are included in the overall search traffic in Search Console. But the problem here is like, it doesn't break it up for us to be able to see like, okay, what's coming from where? So it doesn't show us like when people click. So it says like, we've seen that when people click from search result pages with AI overviews, these clicks are higher quality, meaning users are more likely to spend time on the site. How do we tell that someone came from AI overviews? Like, we can't tell that. They clearly can, and they don't tell us. They just say it's within the web search type. And with AI, and honestly, AI overviews I care less about. It's AI mode that I really want to be able to track, especially as someone who can't see it yet. So I want to like see who's coming from it and see what's working there. And I can't yet. So they're going to have to change that because already marketers are like rioting over this. And I think we're going to have a big issue if they don't fix it. And the last article they talked about was like how to ensure your content performs well in Google's AI experiences on search. And basically it's the same stuff we always say. Unique, valuable content, great page experience. So like they don't want it difficult to navigate, no like burying the main information. It doesn't take too long to load. And then they say like arrive at a page that's cluttered. Let's be real, they mean ads. So another reason why I think ads are going to be harder and harder to sell versus AI mode, AI overviews. Even if it does have ads, we'll have very structured ads. So, and I do wonder if like YouTube, they might end up with like a Google Premium that's ad free. I could see it happening. We'll see. Ensuring that they can access your content technically, making sure that structured data is like the same as visible content. So you're not like lying about what's there. Going beyond text for the multimodal success. And then it says, understand the full value of visits. And again, they're like AI results, like give people context about a topic. And so then when they click, they're more engaged. How do we tell that? So it says, consider looking at various indicators of conversion on your site, be it sales, signups, a more engaged audience, or information lookups about your business. Google, I'm talking right to you now. How do we relate that to our AI overviews or AI mode if we can't tell where they came from? Like intrinsically, if this is true, we will sing your praises because then like show it to us. You know what I mean? Like it's very weird to me that we don't have access to that. It's something that happened with Discover too, but then they still gave us access to that Discover stuff. It's not perfect, but we can kind of see it now. Why don't we have this yet? Like AI overviews have been a thing for over a year now. How do we not have the ability to like see it without using a tool like SEMrush, which SEMrush does have the ability for us to track it there? We shouldn't need a third-party tool to do that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Really bothers me. And then they just like talk about how they've evolved and we need to evolve too because people's needs are evolving. So what are we going to do now if we are focused on Google, right? If we want to get Google traffic, if we want to get ChatGPT search traffic, can I be on camera for 1 second? It's not all about you. We're going to need to make sure that we are getting authority from places that are high quality. So watch my backlink video about my new backlink strategy. It literally applies to all of this. It is basically guesting on podcasts, going on YouTube videos for interviews, and getting links or even branded mentions. Like, links don't matter as much as the mention now. Because like before it needed that link to follow, now it can just see when you've been mentioned somewhere. So that's what we want. We want to be mentioned. We want to collaborate. We really want to like be present in multiple places. We want to make sure that we are repurposing our content, not just reposting it places. So having a couple forms of your content will be key. Tamiko Harvey's session at the Google, was it Creator Summit? What was it called? You don't know. But whatever it was called, she talks about this a lot. So definitely making sure that you're posting in multiple places, and go follow her, because you will see that like she is sharing content and repurposing it, not just like clipping the same thing to show it in multiple places. And that's going to be really important. I also see email as still being so key to interact with our people, having some sort of community function as well. The real key, I think, right now to making sales, connecting with your audience, largely is coming from community. It's coming from showing up. It's coming from staying up to date with things. Passive income is like not going to be a thing where you can like create content for a year in a day and then dip. Like, people need to see you, and they need to see you reacting to things. You need to be human. You need to like have your dog crush you on the couch. You need to like, I know, baby, we'll go to the big couch after. But you need to like actually be a person. You need to be authentic. Those are kind of my secrets to success right now, is be a person, show up in a couple places, choose the places that you like the most and that you have fun with. Make sure that you are creating systems for yourself that don't burn you out. Overall, like, it is a rough time in literally every industry I know of right now. Everyone's struggling a bit, and I totally feel that. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, like, I think our group support dog, this is like, yeah, Theo service dog moments. He's here for all of us. But ultimately, like, take some time away from the computer every week. Make sure that you're like doing something for you. And if this is too much, then you need to consider maybe different workflows, outsourcing. Like, there needs to be something that shifts. But I think ultimately, like, having a personal brand that is very much like connected to what you love, that you live in the niche, that's going to be so key. And I think it's going to be very hard right now to run more than one site. I'd say maybe 2 max, unless you have a giant team. So for everyone that like before was like, I'm going to have 40 sites, maybe don't do that. Right, Theo? Right? I think 1 to 2 sites is plenty. And I think that when you niche down, niche to your expertise and your audience more so than the whole site to one subject. Use silos to niche to subjects. Okay, this video has been very long. Someone clearly wants to cuddle on a couch that is big enough for both of us. So we loved having you. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Okay, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Say bye, Theo. Bye. Good job, buddy.